Hi everyone, I am Megan Krause, and this is my Module 1 for EDL850. A little bit about me. My husband and I have been married for 3 years this coming July. You can see him in the bottom right-hand corner with myself. And we are expecting our first child in September. We do live in Hutchinson, Kansas. We were both born and raised here. Our parents and our grandparents both live here as well. We own two dogs, as you can see, a chocolate lab and a black lab. And this last year we have ventured out and started a herd of cows for our own to kind of start branching off into that. My husband's a farmer, and so he wanted to get into more of the cattle side of it. So, more about me. I've been a special education teacher at an elementary school here in Hutchinson for 4 years now. I get the privilege to work with some great teachers and some awesome 5th and 6th graders. I have a great team of paraeducators and two other special education teachers I get to work with on a daily basis as well. My undergraduate degree is in elementary education with a minor in special education. I just finished my last class for my master's in reading specialist. I'm currently working on an endorsement in building principal, and I've got all my degrees from FHSU, so go Tigers. After this degree, I'm going to be done working on degrees and just going to concentrate on raising my baby. We are going to talk about the 3 levels of government control of public education, and there's the local, state, and federal. First, the local government. The local government for each school district is ran by their own Board of Education, which is the superintendent, and then members from the public are as well on that Board of Education. 96% of school boards are elected by popular vote. The one here in Hutchinson, we just had the re-election here at the end of last year, so we have a fairly new set of board members this year. Each school board then gets to appoint the superintendent as kind of like the CEO of the district to be able to help make those big decisions for the district. And then the state government delegates responsibilities for accountability and operation of the government, ran schools to the Board of Education. So that's kind of where they get their direction, is from the state government. And then the state government, the state often chooses to delegate authority to the school districts. They kind of like to spread it out and give it back to the schools, since we know more of our parents and our teachers and our students more than what the state normally does. The state does oversee the use of Common Core state standards to making sure that teachers are using those correctly, but each state does get to create, implement, and enforce those standards differently, depending on the way that their board or their state prefers to use them. The state provides for slightly less than half of the school's operating costs, and I thought this was an interesting fact. I didn't realize that they gave us any less than half, at least. So I thought that was interesting. And then each state has their own state commissioner. And for Kansas, our commissioner is Randy Watson. And I have actually had the privilege of meeting him and Brad Newswinder, our who's right under Randy. So Randy's the president, and then he would be right under Randy. And then the federal government funding comes from taxation, so all those taxes that we get to pay as people of the state, a lot of our funding comes from that. The federal government did pass the No Child Left Behind Act, and then all 50 states do participate with this act and cooperate with this act so that they are able to receive additional federal funding. I also didn't realize that that was a fact, that if we didn't participate in the No Child Left Behind Act, that we wouldn't get a lot of federal funding. So, and then the Federal Department of Education regulates and enforces all reforms that are passed by Congress. So, if Congress passes a law or a bill, or kind of like this, the No Child Left Behind Act, then it's the federal government or who then tells us that we making sure that we have to follow along with that law or act. And our Secretary of Education is Betsy DuVos. Again, the local government, who's in charge? In the local government, the Board of Education and the superintendent going to make the final decisions for the district because they're local. Each district, like I had said, has their own Board of Education, so they get to make their own local laws. Their responsibilities, the Board of Education are responsible for establishing a curricula that the district has to use as a whole. They get help in hiring the personnel. They make the final say of, yes, we're going to hire this person. They also get to decide when schools should be closed, consolidated, or constructed. So I know here in Hutchinson, 2 years ago, we had a elementary that had one of each grade level and only had about 10 to 12 kids in each class. So they went ahead and consolidated that school, and now it's a preschool, but they consolidated it and moved those kindergarten through sixth graders into all the other buildings in the district. So, and then how are they paid for the local government? The board members are not paid, they are volunteer. So they volunteer their time and efforts and everything they do, but the superintendent is paid on a yearly salary. So then in the state government, for Kansas, our state commissioner, Randy Watson, is in charge of our state government, and his responsibility, he is over all the school districts in Kansas and over the State Board of Education. He's also the one who takes mandates from the federal level of education. So he would get it from Betsy DuVall, and she will tell him what to do, and he has to then implement it down to the local level. He is in charge of making sure each district has a KESA or KISA or some type of accreditation process, and that all state assessments are completed. So he is the one who, when we do all those state assessments or those state testing, he's the one who's making sure, him and his board, that we are getting those completed and that type of thing. And Randy Watson is an paid employee of the state of Kansas as well. And so is his Board of Education. So, and then the federal government, who's in charge, like I said, the Secretary of State or our 11th now Secretary of State is Betsy DuVall. Her responsibility is that she's in charge of the overall direction, supervision, and coordination of all the activities of the Department of Education, and is the principal advisor to the president. So she's the one who sits by President Trump or whoever our current president is, and she's the one that if he has any questions about the education system, she's the one who would be able to answer those questions for him about all the programs and activities that are related to special education, or not just special education, but just education in general. And how are they paid? And she is also paid with a yearly salary. So everybody, it's on the 3 levels, get paid by a yearly salary except for the Board of Education. They are volunteer. Which 3 levels of government have the most influence over these NS6 components? Component 6.1, I would say this component is met at the local government or in our school board. It says that it is, and even in the component, it says that it is specifically says that it's at the school level. So, and then this component also supports each student learning needs to promote the mission and the vision of the school. So to me, that is saying that it's more focused on directly what's happening in the schools and directly what's happening on the local district. So, and then we have component 6.2, and this component would be met more at the state level. The component specifically says that this plan supports school improvement and student improvement. I feel like this is met at the state level because the education commissioner is the one in charge of making sure school improvement like KISA and student improvement like state assessments are focused on at the state level. They're the ones who make sure that those are met, that those needs are met. And then component 6.3, I would say this one would be met at the federal level. This component specifically says that it implements laws, policies, and regulations. And I just feel like at the state level, that's where all that, or not the state level, the federal level, that is where those laws and policies and regulations are made and put into place. Because like the No Child Left Behind Act that they have passed, that's a law or an act that we have to follow. And so that was made at the federal level versus the state or the local. So, how does all this support the educational success and well-being of each student and adult? I feel like having these 3 different levels of government in the education system, in my opinion, is a good idea. I think it helps hold everybody in the educational system responsible. And also I feel like being able to pull in the community with the Board of Education or the parents or whatever, I just feel like having these 3 branches is a great way to make sure that everybody who's involved with these children's lives and these children's education is making sure that they get a say. So Enjoy. Thank you. Here are my references that I was able to use to gather a lot of my information from. Um, Thank you for listening and have a great day.